Coming up in the news, patients benefit from minimally invasive surgeries at General Hospital, and Division of Culture relaunches Sonic 7 Studio at Ministerial Complex. We'll have details to these stories and more, plus a look at news in the region when we return.
Climate change is real, bringing hotter days and less rain. Less rain means less water, so it is crucial for all of us to conserve water at home. When washing my fruits and vegetables, I use a bowl of water, and later I reuse it to water my plants. This is how I save water at home. What are you waiting for?
Welcome back with the details of the GIS News for Friday, July 17th, 2026. I am Rakisha St. Louis. The General Hospital is currently performing minimally invasive surgeries following the handover of equipment that has significantly boosted the island's surgical capacity. The equipment was purchased and donated by a professor of surgery at the University of South Florida, Dr. Christopher Ducoin, who received a financial contribution from one of his patients in the U.S. who wanted to support an impactful surgical program. On Friday, Dr. Ducoin says this new equipment focuses on upgrading clinical capabilities, specifically targeting laparoscopy and endoscopy care.
I think when we think about mission trips or work, what happens is the surgeons come, they do the surgery, and they leave, and the surgery stops. The idea of this donation or this project is very different. This is to bring technology such as laparoscopic surgery or endoscopy or really anything we can do to contribute to the Grenadian healthcare system and just make it more improved for your own physicians. So it's really not about me coming in doing the surgery. It's about me coming in and helping teach and better train the Grenadian surgeons here.
The equipment uses minimally invasive tools, resulting in smaller incisions, reduced pain, and faster recovery times for patients.
Laparoscopic surgery and small incisions, keyhole. This is kind of where you see people maybe wanting to travel outside of Grenada to get this kind of healthcare. This is something we can do here in Grenada, though. This is something that should be a goal of ours. So it's the small incisions where you'd look down and you wouldn't see a big scar. You'd see little tiny incision, and hopefully it really improves things even like access and capacity. And how does surgery change access and capacity? Well, if you've got less pain and you're in the hospital after the operation longer, you can go home sooner, go back to your family quicker, go back to work sooner, contribute more back to the society and the local economy, instead of being in the hospital for 5 or 6 days in pain. So it's a real game changer in all aspects. And by leaving the hospital sooner, you're creating more bed space for patients who might need that, who are sicker patients. Endoscopy is a little different. So endoscopy is where we take scopes and go down the mouth or up the other end, and we look for things. And this is really important when we talk about screening and picking up disease states sooner. So this is great for cancer care and early detection, but there's going to be more to come on that one. We just got that set up on this trip, so I'm hoping next time we come back, we're just going to start doing some endoscopic procedures.
Minister for Health, Honorable Philip Telesford, noted that the equipment is already in use by local medical professionals who have received the training required from Dr. Ducoin to operate these advanced surgical systems.
The whole strategic intention of the hospital, it is very important for us to continue to build capacity. So the doctors have been trained and continue to be trained in laparoscopic techniques and endoscopic techniques, which allows us, one, to be able to carry out surgeries with minimal invasion to our patients. And of course, as explained by Dr. Ducoin, they're able to spend less time at the hospital now because there will be less pain, less bleeding, less invasion into the abdominal cavities, and so they're able to recover much faster. And that is a major plus for us. This is basically the international benchmark, really, for efficient surgeries. And so a small country like Grenada being able to step up and be able to offer international level training and surgeries is extremely important. So we have our doctors, we have the equipment, we have the technique, and so now we are able to offer the service to the population. And that is a major step forward for us.
Acting Chief of Surgery at the General Hospital, Dr. Petra Francis, says the benefits to patients have ripple effects throughout the healthcare system.
This week we completed 4 surgeries. For general surgery, we did 3 laparoscopic cholecystectomies, and gynecology got to do tubal ligation. These patients that for surgery, which honestly their hospital stays 48 hours, 72 to 48 hours, which when we had to do it conventionally would almost be almost to 5 days, right? So that alone by itself was also a win. These patients also, with in terms of the amount of medication that was needed for them on a whole, was decreased, because a patient that is in hospital for 5 days compared to a patient that is here for 2 days, that alone with medication, staying, discomfort and everything, it would have helped a lot. So in terms of that, it has been beneficial for us and for the patients, because the patients at this present, we had a patient that operated yesterday. She's up and about, ready to eat, ready to move. She's even asking if she can go home today. With a conventional way, this patient would have been in bed in a lot more pain, and so it has its advantages as well. And we look forward to furthering this. And also, with the time we operate with these patients, it would mean that a backlog of patients that we've had would be decreasing with this as well. So it comes in handy all over.
2 patients who underwent gallbladder removal this week using the equipment both expressed their satisfaction with the ease of surgery and the reduced recovery time.
So I'm actually very fortunate to be, I think, one of 2 persons who did this procedure. It's the first done here, and it's I can't remember the medical term, but it's the removal of my gallbladder through a laparoscopic procedure. So I had 4 tiny incisions. One hold a camera, one hold a laser, and the other 2 were to hold the tools that the doctor would use to remove the gallbladder through just a tiny incision instead of an entire open surgery. So what I was told, because I was sleeping, is that it was a full hour and a half for the entire procedure. And after waking up from anesthesia, I was able to, it wasn't as bad. The recovery, I feel good, you can tell. I'm sore. I'm very sore, just in the areas where I could tell they had to manipulate, but I'm almost scheduled to go home tomorrow, which is really good.
It was a pleasure receiving the surgery, because I was waiting to do the open surgery. However, I was not a candidate because I have an issue which allows my skin to grow after the surgery. So when doctor told me about the laparoscopy, and it happened so around the same time I came in for surgery, I was sent home in a few days, and I came back and I was able to get a surgery. So I'm so grateful for it. Well, I just have 4 little holes on my stomach, and it's much better than a big scar. So the recovery time is much shorter, which I can return to work quicker in comparison to our open surgery.
The Ministry of Tourism, the Creative Economy and Culture has been applauded for its continued investment in the creative development of young people in Grenada. Through the Division of Culture, the ministry on Wednesday relaunched its Sonic 7 studio, located on the 5th floor of the ministerial complex at the Sir Eric Gairy Botanical Gardens. The launch has been described by Minister for Tourism, the Creative Economy and Culture, Honorable Adrian Thomas, as the reopening of possibilities and opportunities, representing his government's vision to position Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique as the creative capital of the Eastern Caribbean.
This studio is not simply a place to record songs. It is a classroom where future producers and engineers will own their craft. It is a laboratory where innovation and creativity will flourish. It is a home where our cultural heritage will be documented and preserved for generations yet unborn. It is a launching pad from which Grenadian talents can reach regional and international audience. As government, we remain committed to ensuring that our creativity have access to professional facilities at affordable rates while maintaining the high standards of excellence and sustainability. Because when our creatives succeed, Grenada succeeds. When our music travels, our tourism industry benefits. When our culture shines, our modern economy grows. And when young people discover purpose through creativity, our nation becomes stronger.
Chief Cultural Officer Mr. Kelvin Jacob says the studio has been integral in the creative development of many Grenadians.
This studio over the years has given a lot to Grenada. I remember it being facilitated for artists, members of the youth group, members of the folk group, and also all the students who took part in the Festival of the Arts. I know that many of the Festival of the Art pieces were recorded right here at the studio. And the studio was down for a time, and last year we decided to relaunch the studio. So we did a lot of work into that studio, and here we are today to see the realization of what that hard work was over the past few months.
The construction and design of the studio was undertaken by Mr. Petrock Bernard, who commended the government for its continued efforts to find avenues for young creatives to thrive.
I'm really happy to be here because I know from this point it's going to be a change in what we listen, and with Grenada music trending for a couple of years now, I think we're just in the right time and in the right space to give it another thump upwards. With our resources that we put into this and with our dedication, I think we can achieve a good steady step forward and upward as we move on in this industry. And again, I applaud the ministry and the minister for putting all this effort in the young people of this country to make sure that they have some foundation in entertainment and music, which we know is part of our heritage.
The ribbon was cut, marking the official conclusion of the ceremony, after which the studio was opened for viewing. Grenadian artist Sabrina Francis recorded her first soca track, Honor You, at the original studio, which was constructed in 2008 under the leadership of former Chief Cultural Officer Mr. Thomas Matthew and Mr. Adrian Mark, who is currently the Senior Cultural Officer in the Division of Culture. Reconstruction began in December last year. Grenada is a proud participant of the EU CAN Cultivating Futures project that is aimed at empowering youth to develop hands-on skills in agriculture and sustainable development. 3 schools, the St. Martin de Porres Catholic, Riversally Government and Paraclete Government, are among 10 schools throughout 4 countries that are participating in the project. Joining regional counterparts for the hybrid launch of the project, Permanent Secretary Javon Williams underscored the importance of the project in promoting better nutrition, healthier habits, and skills for life and livelihood among youth.
For Grenada, as a beneficiary country, this project supports several of our national priorities, which includes it strengthens the effort of food towards nutrition security by encouraging local production and reducing dependencies on inputs and other national foods. It promotes climate smart and sustained agriculture by teaching young people how to grow food responsibly and protect our national resource. It invests in our youth development, empowering the next generation to see agriculture as just not a last resort, but as a modern, innovative, and responsible profession.
The Cultivating Futures project is a regional initiative led by the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Zero Hunger Trust Fund to strengthen food security, nutrition education, climate resilience, and youth engagement through ecological school gardens in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Dominica. Providing feature remarks at the event, Minister for Tourism, Civil Aviation and Sustainable Development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. the Honorable Kishore Shalot, highlighted the critical nature of the program for St. Vincent and the entire region.
The reality before us is that globally we have over 670, I think that's nearing 700 million people around the entire world that face hunger. And stats suggest that about 2.3 billion people experience food insecurity. And you can go even further to say that 2.6 thereabout billion also cannot afford a healthy diet daily. Now that's the reality before us. And so if you digest those stats, you realize how important every initiative to combat poverty, to combat food insecurity, food security, which is the next approach, you would see how meaningful these efforts are. And we can't in any way understate the value of these efforts. And so every opportunity I certainly have representing the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I continue to ask everyone for their just a continued support in us addressing this critical issue.
Head of the Global Euro Partnerships Division, Central Project Management Agency, is Una Chimlia-Slate.
We are starting the process today. And the process is always ongoing. So what we are committing today is to a never-ending goal of making sure we live healthy. So that every time we say sveiki, we not only say hello, but we mean that we are healthy. And the processes are usually led by organizations, and that's why the Central Project Management Agency was mentioned today several times. It's the institution in Lithuania, which is actually a public institution. It's under Ministry of Finance of Lithuania. But as a public institution, we do understand the power of the community. Even if sometimes we are not so good at keeping the communities alive ourselves because of the cultural things, but we do understand the power of community. And as a Central Project Management Agency, we also understand the power of the partnerships. It's so hard to go through the process alone, and it's so easy to do that together. You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child? That's why we need every one of you who is already involved and who is willing to be a part of UCAN program. Of course, as a CPVA, we're also not doing it alone. We're doing it with the huge trust of the EU delegation to Barbados, which we are very grateful for, and our partners, FIAP from Spain. And we were entrusted to partnership with the local communities here in the Caribbean. We, of course, absolutely grateful for Zero Hunger Trust Fund for trusting in us to be the partners in this process. And there is no one better who knows your countries and the islands than you. No one else can tell you how and what to do except yourselves. You yourself stepping forward and making sure you are there for the change.
The initiative is led by the 4H Council of Grenada, and the project is funded by the European Union through the EU CAN facility. Primary and secondary school teachers this week participated in a virtual reality teacher training workshop geared toward boosting professional development and strengthening classroom engagement. Annette Moore tells us how the engagement will improve teaching and learning in the new school year.
Teachers in Grenada participated in a virtual reality teacher training workshop, a professional development initiative designed to strengthen classroom engagement and improve measurable learning outcomes through innovative teaching strategies. The The 4-day workshop ran from July 13th to 16th with daily sessions from 9 to 3 p.m. Secondary school teachers participated on Monday and Tuesday, while primary school teachers attended on Wednesday and Thursday. Participants are being introduced to the effective use of virtual reality, metacognitive learning strategies, and learner-centered instructional approaches that enhance student engagement and enrich the classroom experience. The training was delivered by an on-site facilitator from St. Lucia, Bernice Lewis, and is sponsored by FLOW, Liberty Caribbean Foundation, and the Ministry of Education, Grenada.
The workshop that I am facilitating here this week is one that equips teachers with the knowledge of virtual reality, but also foundational information about metacognition and building metacognitive awareness in students so that they can excel in their studies. These virtual reality headsets, they're academic content specifically, but they're in a way that our children who are digital natives will appreciate more than a flat textbook which just has words and pictures. So it's an immersive experience. When they put it on their heads, they can actually be immersed in a 3D environment that can teach them math, and it's gamified. So if you're doing fractions, you can see the pizza floating around and you can drag and drop parts of the pizza for you to decide, okay, is this 1/4 of the pizza? Is this 5/8 of the pizza? I really understand the concepts that seem more abstract when you don't have images in front of you. In the learning sciences, metacognition is key. It is the difference between a struggling learner and a successful learner. So many times we find that students struggle, and they struggle because they do not know how to learn. So it's been an oversight in our education system that children aren't taught explicitly how to learn. So this workshop teaches teachers how they can embed this knowledge in their classes for their children, their students, and probably even make it something that is more, pointed and more targeted so children can succeed in their academics.
Several teachers shared what they learned and how they hope to use this information in their classrooms. A key concept, metacognition, is something that most teachers have identified as an invaluable teaching tool.
One important thing from today is that I think that metacognition is a game changer. Reason being, it will encourage decision making, problem solving, and in turn, it will help children to take advantage or ownership of their learning.
One of the key takeaways on my end is implementing some of the strategies that we can use towards metacognition, allowing the students to understand how they learn. And I'm also looking forward to implementing that first initial aspect of technology in the form of virtual reality in my classroom. I think it would make a very interesting part of the learning experience for the students.
The purpose of the activity is to ensure that students understand what was taught, and it would also help to create a room for learning. One of the key things that I've been exposed to so far is that learning is not just about choosing the correct answers, but is about thinking about how we actually learn and how we think. Some of the strategies I think I can bring back to the classroom from this workshop is a lot. Role playing, hot seats, games. I think all of these metacognition strategies will be very impactful in the classroom, and it will enhance student learning and make the classroom fun and interactive.
So far, I'm very happy to learn about metacognition, which deals with thinking of thinking. And I also learn how it can be very much beneficial to my students, especially when it comes to the learner strategies. So with these games, basically, it allows you to assist students in understanding how they think and how much they can retain information and content without even becoming too frustrated. So I think really that's what stood out to me, and I will be implementing these strategies in the long run in my classes. What we did today was what you called hot seat. That is where you basically give a term and you give prompts, and the students will basically use those context clues that you give to come up with the term or probably a specific subject or topic. So I think it will be beneficial to my students. It will really help you see where they are at in terms of learning based on what you're teaching them. and where exactly they need the help. So I think it's really important that we introduce these types of games to students in classes.
We've learned about the different ways in engaging the kids so that we could have maximum output at the end of each class, where we educate them using games and teaching them about different study schedules and the timing associated with study schedules and stuff like that. Based on the information attained from the class, I think I'd be better equipped to assisting the kids and engaging with them better. So I'd be able to play some of the games that we've learned today. I'd be able to think up better ways to create materials to engage with them. And on a whole, the takeaway would be awesome, starting the new school year.
At the conclusion of the training, all participants received certificates of completion in recognition of their participation. Joey Innovative Learning Solutions Incorporated, in collaboration with the Liberty Caribbean Foundation, has partnered to advance digital learning across the region. The collaboration follows Joey's successful implementation of 3 school-based pilot programs in St. Lucia. These pilots demonstrated measurable academic gains, including a 30% improvement after a 2-week engagement at Bishop Charles Gatchett Combined School, and improvements of 69% and 82% respectively among grade 6 and grade 5 cohorts at Laguerre Primary School following 8-week programs.
This workshop has been made possible by Flow and Liberty Caribbean Foundation, based in Florida. They're the ones who have actually sponsored this. And we're working closely with the Ministry of Education in Grenada to make this possible as well. So moving forward, we would appreciate if sponsors come on board to make this possible in our schools. Because in St. Lucia, we've already been running programs with the virtual reality headsets and teaching children metacognition, and the results have been phenomenal. UNICEF has sponsored some of these programs with our students, and we've seen 81% of our students have improved grades because of this program. So we know it works. We've run 3 pilot programs, and we know that it definitely works. So our aim here is to see how we can expand into Grenada and allow them to benefit from this program.
The Ministry of Education remains committed to providing educators with these innovative tools and professional learning opportunities that enhance teaching and learning. For GIS News, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
Climate change is real, bringing hotter days and less rain. Less rain means less water, so it's crucial for us to conserve water at home. When washing my vehicle, I use a bucket with rainwater that I have stored. This is how I save water. What are you waiting for?
Welcome back. The Ministry of Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs and Local Government has injected $150,000 into this year's Carriacou Regatta Festival, placing youth boat building at the center of the celebration. The major financial backing and the festival details were unveiled during a media launch hosted by the Carriacou Regatta Festival Committee. The highly anticipated festival is scheduled to run from Sunday, July 26th to Sunday, August 2nd, and includes a series of racing activities, car show, and Emancipation Day March. Regatta Committee Chairman Carl Benjamin announced that the government's financial support has already yielded tangible results, directly aiding repair works on 3 large deck slopes, which are now being worked on to compete in this year's races.
Government has taken an initiative to have started or assisted with the boat building school here at Windward, and I must say the persons in the Windward community must be proud that Windward was chosen as the site to start that school. And the mere fact too that the investment is not only in building vessels.
This year's festival will heavily focus on traditional craftsmanship and community continuity. Through a summer initiative organized by the Division of Youth, young men are currently undergoing training at the island's specialized boat building school. The fruits of their labor will be a major highlight of the upcoming festival, with several youth-built vessels slated to hit the water for active competition. Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs, Honorable Tevin Andrews, says the government's investment in this year's festival helps safeguard Carriacou's unique maritime heritage.
The Ministry of Carriacou and Petite Martinique will continue to play its part, Mr. Chairman and team, as much as we can and as far as possible, to provide support to the festival, because we want to see the festival grow. When the festival grows, Carriacou and Petite Martinique benefits. And that's all that matters to us, that Carriacou and Petite Martinique benefits, and that the future generations of Carriacou and Petite Martinique can look forward in knowing that we've done our part in assisting in preserving this rich heritage and culture tradition. So thank you very much, and I wish the Regatta 2026 all the success.
Chairman Benjamin reiterated that the long-term survival of the regatta remains a priority.
Insurgents, we're seeing a re-enkindlement of interest in sailing in Carriacou, and this tells us that sailing is at home here in Carriacou, and we should do everything that we have, everything within our power to ensure that it stays here. And one of the interesting aspects of our sailing is our regatta. And jump high or jump low, we have to ensure that our regatta, just as how life evolves, it evolves with life, with time, so that we have to have innovative ideas, we have to have innovative practices.
With strong financial backing and a clear focus on the future of maritime craftsmanship, the 2026 Carriacou Regatta is on track to bridge the gap between honoring local heritage and empowering the island's youth. Continuing the local segment, inmates at His Majesty's Prison showed off their athletic skills on Thursday at the institution's 14th annual Sports Meet and Fun Day, held at the renamed Denzel Bowen Recreational Ground after former Prison Commissioner Denzel Bowen. The event featured several categories of races, including 1,500 meters, 800 meters, 400 and 200 meters. Family and friends were invited to witness their loved ones in action. Head of the Rehabilitation Unit, Leon Cornwall, told GIS that the sports day has many benefits for the prison and the inmates.
We have the mandate to maintain a family relationship. Even though inmates have done something wrong, hurt society, and then here ordered by the court, they're still human beings. They still belong to persons who are family members and so. And we believe that we have to bring the family more on board in this rehabilitation process. So that's that there. Obviously, as a sporting activity, it has psychological benefit. It's a means of breaking the stress of confinement, as well as physical benefit, you know, the fact of being able to exercise and so. And also what is key also is that the business community, they are on board with us in this, because this sporting activity, as well as many other programs of the rehabilitation unit, is not actually funded by government. It's not in the government budget. And we have to get the assistance by soliciting the help of various persons in the business community. For example, yes.
Cornwall said this year the field events were held prior to the actual sports day. He outlined some other changes to the event.
But this year we have changed that, and we're using the concept like houses, like how you have in the school, and we're naming them after former commissioners of prison. Caddo House after one of our former commissioners. Then there's the Derek John House, although he was not a commissioner, he was a superintendent, who was very, very key in the rehabilitation program. And we have Wesley Beggs and also Rupert Nichols' house, right? Both of them, and we have 1,500, 100, 80 meters, 60 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters. We have done the field events. 2 days ago, the shot put, the throwing of the ball, weightlifting, tug of war. We have done those 2 days before, so we will not utilize the time of the sports today for that.
The sports meet was supported by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Finally, in the local segment, several units within the Ministry of Education are now more equipped to support the successful rollout of the revised Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment CPEA program following a workshop this week. The sessions were held in collaboration with the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC. Annette Moore has the details.
The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, has commenced a series of orientation workshops aimed at preparing educators for the revised Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment, or CPEA. The preparatory meeting took place on Monday, July 13th at the Grenada Cricket Stadium, where ministry officials from the Curriculum Unit, the Testing and Examinations Unit, the School Administration and Management Unit, and the Special and Inclusive Education Unit were equipped to support successful rollout of the revised CPEA program. The Deputy Chief Education Officer for Special and Inclusive Education, Judy N. Auld, notes that students who are part of special education schools also write the CPEA exams, and this training is therefore pertinent.
I welcome the opportunity to participate in this training here this morning, because it's all about refining the internal and external components of the CPEA. By being a part of this training, I am more knowledgeable now and able to pass that information on to the teachers and principals at our special schools so that they can better prepare our students to be successful at the CPEA exams. Well, I like the fact that the max for the project is increased to now from 20 to 40%. Also like that it's group work, although sometimes at our special schools we only have one child sitting per year, so they may be at a disadvantage there where they will have to do individual project instead of a group project. So I don't know how that will really play out.
Facilitating the workshops are Jeanette Clacken, Instructional Designer at the CXC Professional Learning Institute, Latoya Wedderburn-Rose, Manager in the CXC Qualifications Management Department, and Nolet Leslie Yard, Senior Manager in the Qualifications Management Department. Leslie Yard and Wedderburn-Rose shared more information on their visit.
The Caribbean Examinations Council is here in Grenada for this week, and we're engaging with the Ministry of Education, with curriculum officers and other stakeholders, as well as teachers, to support the implementation of the revised Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment, CPEA, here in Grenada.
So the refinements made to the CPEA are not many. We dub it refining with a purpose, minor refinement. So the structure of the assessment remains intact. We still have the internal component as well as the external component. We would have made some revisions to the internal component, and that will see the removal of the pupil-made test. We would have also refined all internal components. The refinements really centered around clarifying the instructions, the internal guidelines for the rubrics, as well as the guidelines given to the teachers. But the structure of the program is intact and remains the same.
We want teachers to have a greater sense of efficacy as they move towards implementing the revised CPEA. We know that CPEA has been institutionalized here in Grenada, and Grenada has been doing a very good job of supporting the implementation of the program in schools. We're here really to support that effort, to ensure that teachers are very ready for September to engage students around the revised standards, and to ensure that they are alert and are very aware of what they need to do to ensure that the program is implemented with the kind of fidelity that we envisage. Teachers, we know, play a significant role in ensuring that what we design is implemented in the way that we have designed it.
Visit. Local Registrar of Exams in Grenada, Nicholas Paul, is pleased to see this training being executed.
The approach that is actually taken in that the people who would be monitoring and ensuring that all the standards are upheld, they are the ones who are actually being trained first. So they could in turn go back to the school during the supervision, during the interaction with the teachers. They'll be better able to guide them through the process, and they would have a better understanding of the changes and will be able to help the teachers to better implement those changes when the time comes around.
Teacher orientation workshops will be held from July 14th to 17th and will focus on the revised CPA framework, standards-based teaching, assessment practices, project and writing portfolio assessment, can-do skills, teacher-made test, and updates to the CPA administration guide. Participants will also engage in practical activities, collaborative discussions, and question and answer sessions designed to strengthen implementation of the revised program. Math and Science Curriculum Officer and CPA Moderator Lorraine Diali sees the training as necessary and informative.
I think it's good that it's happening now so that schools can be informed of this as they go into the new school year. There is a new evaluation whereby students can evaluate themselves, peers can evaluate one another, and the teacher evaluation. So that ensures that students all give their best towards the project and no one person's efforts are more than others, but everybody gives equal share.
These sessions form part of the ministry's ongoing commitment to strengthening the implementation of the digital harmonized primary curriculum while building the capacity of educators to deliver high-quality teaching and learning experiences. For GIS News, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. This is the GIS News. We'll take a look at what's happening in the region when we come back.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with but a step. So the journey of a year begins with but a sec. 1 second is the difference between old and new. The difference between what you have done and what you have to do. 1 second is the difference between who you were and who you are going to be. The difference between a year of expectations and a year of memories. Awaiting you is a year of opportunities and new moves. Just one final second to reflect. And then we must embrace indeed. I reckon 1 second is all we need.
Welcome back. A major overhaul of examinations will see traditional coursework scrapped for most subjects by 2028 as the Caribbean Examinations Council CXC moves to curb the impact of artificial intelligence on student assessment. The decision to phase out school-based assessments, or SBAs, for non-practical subjects announced from CXC headquarters in Barbados represents one of the most significant structural shifts in the history of the regional examining body, which was established to oversee Caribbean secondary education credential in the Commonwealth in 1972. The rapid proliferation of sophisticated, accessible artificial intelligence tools has prompted educational authorities worldwide to reconsider how student competencies are measured. Speaking on the reform, CXC Registrar and Chief Executive Wayne Wesley said the Council is not seeking to wage a futile war against technological progress in the classroom. Instead, the initiative is designed to ensure that the grades awarded to the Caribbean students remain authentic, rigorous, and respected on the global stage. The new framework is scheduled to take effect in the 2027 academic year, allowing schools, teachers, and students a transition period to adapt to the new expectations. Under the new guidelines, the Council is drawing a clear line between practical and non-practical subject areas for subjects that are inherently hands-on and project-based. Where physical demonstration is vital to proving competence, the traditional coursework component will be retained. For non-practical academic disciplines, the traditional take-home SBA will be abolished. The cricket world is mourning the death of Barbados national hero and legendary all-rounder Sir Garfield Sobers, who passed away on Friday at the age of 89. Sobers died at his home in Highgate Gardens, Barbados, just 11 days before his 90th birthday. His son Daniel Sobers said the cricket icon has been ill for some time, but remained strong until his final moments. Sobers represented the West Indies in 1954 to 1974, playing 93 test matches and scoring 8,032 runs at an average of 57.78. He also took 235 wickets at an average of 34.03, cementing his legacy as one of the sport's most complete players. He held the record for the highest individual score in Test cricket for 36 years after making 365 not out against Pakistan in 1958, a mark that was surpassed by fellow West Indian Brian Lara in 1994. His death marks the end of an era for West Indies cricket and leaves behind a legacy that continues to inspire generations of players around the world. That's a look at news for today, Friday, July 17th. A recap of the top stories. Patients benefit from minimally invasive surgeries at General Hospital, and Division of Culture relaunches Sonic 7 Studio at Ministerial Complex. On behalf of the news and production team, I am Rakisha St. Louis, thanking you for joining us.